Alright everybody, we've got ourselves a little project going on that's necessitating the use of our new skyhook here. It's actually the first time the skyhook has been used other than Wiggles playing with it. I don't know what this pin weighs. It's not as heavy as it looks because it's hollow, but still a heck of a lot heavier than what I want to manhandle, I can assure you of that. So, yeah, this is, what is this pin size? It's like 7.5, I'm sure it's metric. That's about 7.5 inches with a 4.5 inch hole down the middle. I can pick it up and carry it if I absolutely have to. But, like I said, it's more than I really want to manhandle. So we're going to use this sky hook to get her stuck in the lathe here. So here's the part that goes in. So this hole is beat out oversized. That bore down there that it sits in is beat out oversized. And it had wore on the pin a bit, so I was just skimming the pin enough to make it back round. I only took about 0.010 on a side off the pin. Not even that in some areas on it. So anyway, now what I got to do is weld this up and then recut the sucker. So that's I'm getting ready to set up out here with the welder, run a pass in there. It's very little buildup needed. Normally, I would want to cut this oversize before I welded it. But I really, really, really don't want to set it up in the boring mill and then take it back out. So, debating just going in here with a grinder. I think that's what I'm going to do. Go in here and just really go after this surface so I know I got a nice, fresh, bare metal surface so that I can count on getting some good adhesion. But, I don't know, I'll think about it. It really should get cut oversized just so I don't deal with running into hard spots from the base metals. We don't know what this is. This could be T1 plate. We don't know what they made this out of. So I'll think it over, decide how brave I am, and then make a plan. So I've decided to just give her a good die grinding and then weld it up. So the downside to that is that I'm pretty much certain to be cutting through what would be called the transition zone. Like there'll be spots where there's base metal mixed in. You can run into weird variations in surface hardness doing that. And what that can do is make your hole not cut round and stuff. But I've decided to try it because here's worst case scenario. It'll be cuttable. If I'm fighting too much trouble with that, I just go ahead, cut it oversized, and re-weld it. And I'll be set up on the mill at that point. The welding it right now won't take that long, because it's very thin. I only need about 0.010 on a side. So if I put one light pass in this entire thing, I got more than enough buildup. So we're going to try it. If we get in there and it's not cutting good, we're just going to cut it over and then weld it back up on the board. A lot of my files I'll take and grind the end like you would for flaking and scraping work, and use that to take paint stuff like this off with. The point of this is to just make it easier to get a good accurate reading on this thing while I'm setting it up on the boring mill. That, and I'd rather not have any paint anywhere near the edge where I'm welding, because it's almost guaranteed to result in porosity. I weld her up with those. You gotta get all this paint off so it doesn't mess with my weld.
I kind of need the air for my steam engine.
Uh-oh. Well, you can have the air back here in a little bit.
Why do you guys scrape off the paint?
Paint here I'm scraping off so that it doesn't burn and mess up my weld. The paint out here I'm scraping off because I want to use a dial indicator to screw this thing up when I put it in the boring mill. And I need...
You don't want the paint to, since the paint's not perfectly straight, you don't want to...
Yeah, paint thickness might vary. And interesting, I didn't quite clean up when they machined it. There's a spot right down here at the bottom. It's okay, we just have to remember when we're indicating in to not trust any number down there on that side.
How does the file get the paint off?
I kind of sharpened the end of it up a little bit to make a scraper out of it.
Is it good for the file?
Well, you don't use the end of the file for anything anyway, so it just is kind of a way to get your file to be more useful.
why is it like this kind of color where it looks like piece of wood chip or something?
That's primer. So the green is the paint, and the kind of yellowish stuff is the primer that they used underneath.
This stuff.
Yep.
Why do you need to use primer?
Because it sticks better than the paint. sputtering in, and that's it. Well, time to lock down all the cross feeds. Alright, so how's it going with this thing? You got any spark? You gotta hold it up against the metal and then look to see if you got any spark. Try it again, I'll watch.
Here, crank.
A little low on spark, it looks like.
We've got 0 spark.
Yeah, it's probably got a bad coil, but you could try unplugging this because this is the wire that shorts it out. Unplug that one and then see if you have spark. Alright, you hanging on? Hard to get a... No spark. I think the coil's bad, Wiggles.
How do you get at the coil?
Well, the coil's right here.
Mm.
But I don't know where we would get another one. Something my dad taught me when I was a kid first learning, always make sure there's no chips. See this? My dad has had this particular chalk longer than I've been alive, and you see the distinct lack of buggers in it. There's a few where it rattled around a drawer, but see a lot of these where some nincompoop has just been slamming her in there year after year with a heap of chips. Wrecks the end of your spindle, wrecks your tooling. Well, anyway, that was one of my dad's pet peeves, and it was a good one. So. Something else you probably notice is that I don't use the brake very often. That was another one of my dad's things. I don't remember him using the brake very much at all. And that was because that was just one more thing that you were wearing out pretty pointlessly as far as he was concerned. only thing I regularly use the brake for is the same thing my dad did, and that's to hold the tool. Or hold the spindle while I'm doing a tool change. Alright, I gotta find one of my brushes here a minute. Brush these chips out of the road. So I got distracted and forgot to turn the camera on for the drilling and tapping, but you're not missing much. It's drilling and tapping, pretty straightforward. So anyway, you can see I should have relieved that a little bit deeper. What happened is I milled in and there was deflection in my cutter, so in the back corners you can see where I was just touching with the tap, but for what it is, it doesn't matter. I was only doing that because I didn't feel like trying to start drilling on the edge of a curve. You know, on that radius, trying to get through chrome and on a curve. I mean, I could have just spotted each of them, but it was simpler just milling from the side like I just did here. So, all right, so now I got a whole new thing I got to check. I forgot about this. I have to get centered up and drill and tap myself a hole in the tang of this thing for a keeper. Made a mark on the tang where it needs to be. No, I said bottom marks. Alright, I gotta show this to you guys. This is probably the nicest first pass I've ever made. Now, I did have a little trouble. It walked my tool over it. So, this is definitely a huge improvement from my other boring stuff. You can see nice finish, even an uninterrupted cut. But it was getting dull and it started deflecting the tool. So, obviously, this is a tapered hole right now. But I want to just quick throw a measurement across it with a caliper, just kind of get a feel for where I'm at right now, and then we'll do some more cutting. Nice. Tool didn't get annihilated that time. See what that took us to. Alright, time to get some good measurements. Alright, this is it. Finished pass on this bore. I had to tweak the tool out another thousandths, but it's cutting right on the money now, so we'll get this passed out with, and then we've got, I'll show you, so we're cutting the bore that this goes with right now, and then we got to go down in, because you can see this, then there's a step, and then it steps down again, so then we got to go in there and cut that bore down in the bottom to that diameter. So that's what's coming next as soon as I get done here. She's cutting her way in. We're looking through the hole that we're going to cut next after we get done with that one. Alright. So, the real challenge with this one is seeing what I'm doing. That's going to be fun. When I get to the bottom of that, because I'm boring to a, I don't know what you want to call it, shoulder basically, I'm going to have to set my Deere to 0 when I hit the depth that I want to be at, and then not reset it again until I get done. It's going to be pretty exciting, no two ways about it. Alright, I haven't been shooting any video of this because frankly I can't even see what I'm doing, but anyway, you can see I've got that style cutter in there. I am cut to within about 15 thousandths on a side, or no. Look at my numbers again. Yeah, 15 thousandths on a side at finished dimension. And you can see I've got some pretty good cavities up there in the back side. I'm going to touch it up with a little bit of weld. And then the other thing you can see here, maybe you can, I'm facing off pretty hard there and I'm not even touching on the bottom. I expected that because the pin had worn, tipped forward like this, worn heavily into the top side. That means the heel of the pin bit into the back side there. Once I've got this thing where I'm happy with the bore, I'm going to go ahead and skim that back face off is my plan. So anyways, I'm going to do a little touch up here with the welder and then we'll go from there. Alright, so got that bore done, and I crashed. So I'm going to show you what I did. See that big ugly gouge right there? That was, I was in there trying to face off the weld around the bore a little bit and got it as far as I wanted to, and I'd been hand cranking it in and I'd forgot to flip my lever over, so because I wasn't power feeding in and the last thing I'd done was rapid traversed into the hole, I hit the lever and rapid traversed right into that. Here's what it does to your cutters when you do that. Really trashes them. Thankfully, my tooling was stout enough, my clamping, you know, is I've got these clamped down with weld top and bottom. I've got toe clamps there, and I've got these welded top and bottom in the back here. Nothing moved, it just destroyed the tool. This gouge is a little ugly, but it functionally makes no difference. But anyway, moral of the story, pay attention to what you're doing. Not that any of you, my good friends out there, would forget to do that. So anyway, I'm about to get back at it. We'll keep you posted. Alright, so I faced this off. I didn't get video of it, but I had my Wohlhopter universal boring head set up. I actually didn't have that tool in it when I did it. I was just using this with cemented carbide tooling. But now I'm needing to reach down and do that face, and I'm going to try this Narex head. It takes bigger bars, and see if we can get this set up. I'll just bring you back when I get it stuck in the mill and see if it's going to fly. Well, that was a big knot. I went to use this, and this all fell apart. As far as I can tell, the key had worked its way out of there, and then this stuff was on the process of exploding out of there, and as soon as I started trying to spin it, it dumped all them parts out down into the chip valley in this thing, and I'm still not sure I found them all. I think there's got to be a washer that's supposed to be in here. I don't know, I'm halfway wondering if it was already missing. It looks like somebody might have been in here before me, but at any rate, that's a definite knot. So it knocked this off from here and threw parts at me. So I guess we're going to do this the old-fashioned way, where I just go into a dimension and cut my way out across the face that way, because I'm tired of fighting with this. It's time to get done and go home. So anyways, I'll bring you back when we get a little further with it. Alright everybody, so it's basically done. I got to do a bit of just touch up, you know, knocking the burrs off and stuff with a die grinder, but I ended up using this setup with oh, I don't know where I went with it, but anyways, cutter and just stepping my way out across this face. Now you can see I didn't go to full cleanup. That face had worn funny. I really don't want to rip that much material off, so I've got, you know, full cleanup all the way to the outside edge at the top. And then you can see a crescent coming around here where it didn't make contact, but I've got some weld that overlapped in the corners, and honestly, it's such a tight press fit in here. And, you know, I'm making contact all the way around the center, so when them bolts tighten up, it'll suck that pin up tight. I just didn't want to take any more material out of there than I absolutely had to, so I'm pretty happy with that. We're going to just clean her up, and I already called the customer, told them I'm going to set it out the door, and they're going to stop by with their service truck, pick it up in the morning, because I won't be here. That's pretty much going to be a wrap. I set it up with, it's a 7, nominally about a 7.5 inch pin. I set it up with 10 thousandths of press fit on both those surfaces. So basically running about 1.5 an inch, and we don't have any specs on this thing. We just know we don't want it to come loose. So hopefully that'll get the job done. I told them to go ahead and when they put it in, go buy themselves a bunch of dry ice, pack that thing full of dry ice, and go to hammering it in, pulling it in with the bolts. And if it stops and doesn't want to do it, they've got a 60-ton hollow core cylinder, and they'll throw a threaded rod down the middle and give it another yank. So anyway, that's it, guys. That's going to be a wrap for now, and we'll catch you on the next video.